Hey guys, so this is a little bit different than my normal content. Um, I've had a lot of people on my team at work who are interested in getting their resume repaired, and really I just don't have the bandwidth to talk to everyone individually. I've talked to a handful of people one on one, but I thought I would go ahead and create a video about maybe some of the common things I see that could be done better on people's resume, and then how to actually go about creating your resume, saving your resume, and delivering it in a form that makes it as easy as possible for the people you're giving it to. So over here we have an example resume I was given, and it's pretty indicative of the type of resumes I've been seeing. And I think the most common problem is I see people not giving themselves credit for what they know how to do. So I'm going to just go around or go over how we can maybe get our resumes to a point where we give ourselves all the credit we're due. So I've opened a new instance of Word here. And so what I want to do is I want to just start fresh. And I went to Word and I went to the resume and cover letters templates. And I'm going to find one that I want to use. And there's a lot of different ones out here. These are real flashy. I would prefer not to be flashy. It doesn't. I'm never very impressed by a Word template because I know it's just a Word template, right? So just find something that makes it very easy to deliver the information that you want to convey, and don't worry about it having color or being pretty. It's about being able to communicate your talent effectively without you having to be there, right? You can just deliver this piece of paper that says what you know how to do. And if that paper can effectively convey the types of things that you know how to do and makes that person want to talk to you, it doesn't matter if it has pretty colors. So I'm going to go through, and I'm looking for something simple, and I'm looking for something organized. Now, I want this one because of how simple it is. It also has white space. So it does a couple things, okay? So look on this resume. It says production worker. So it's experience, and then I went down a line and said production worker, and then I went down a line and started putting information. Okay, so this one does it different. It puts experience over here, and then what, kind of my job title was, and then I kind of list what I've done. And what this does is it saves you lines down the resume, so you can add more content because you've put things laterally rather than up and down. And then also it creates this little white space here. So during an interview or something, if the interviewer wanted to take notes, it provides a space for people to take notes. It's right in line with the things they might want to be taking notes on, so they can put the note next to the thing they are concerned about. So I think it makes it really nice for the interviewer, and you want to make the interviewer's day easy. So that's your goal. So if they can easily understand what you've done and easily take the notes they need to take on your resume, easy peasy, you got it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start plugging in our information. So we got a template. We're just going to plug it in. We're going to go ahead and get started. So actually, this was a real person's resume, and I did help them fix it. And part of that process is having kind of a conversation with the person. So if you specifically need help finding out like what things you can put on your resume that you want to give yourself credit for, but you don't even know what those are, that's where I would say build your resume like this, and then you can come talk to me in person, and then we can have that conversation and find out all the good content. But if you do the legwork first of building your resume, making it clean, then it makes it very easy. So I spoke to this employee, and we already kind of went through this. So I'm going to try to recreate that conversation. So first of all, for the objective, you can see over here they're seeking full-time employment, blah, blah, blah. They talked about how they are interested in not just full-time employment, but finding somewhere where they will stay and create a career for themselves. So they're a production tech right now. And they may want to move up. They may want to be a team lead. Um, who knows? They may even get to repair, right? So mm, I want to express that in a tight sentence. Um, so the sentence we came up with. So that's what we came up with. Seeking a career where I can exhibit my problem solving and communication skills while I help the company succeed. So what I don't want you to do is create your resume and copy this sentence verbatim. That's not very meaningful. And it might not be true to you. Maybe you're a great communicator, but you struggle at problem solving. And that's where you use your excessively good communication skills to bring people onto your team so you can solve problems as a group, right? So think about your skills and don't necessarily take this sentence verbatim. That's really not what I want people to take away from this. It's about making this resume fit you so that when you're sitting in an interview, they say, tell me your biggest strength. Well, I already put my biggest strength right on my resume, so I can tell you what it is. I'm a great problem solver and I'm a great communicator. And here down my resume are all the examples of how I am. This employee had multiple kind of stints working at Caterpillar. During the COVID pandemic, they left temporarily, basically to better support their family. It became necessary that they took some time off. So there's a couple things I want to do here. Normally, I would say I kind of went back and forth. Do I want to consider that job 1 and job 2? Two separate jobs. I ended up going away from that because I don't think that the employer cares. As long as you can deliver that information so they understand what happened, I think let's call that all one job, even though it was technically, they were separated and came back, rehired. I think I want to just call it all one job, and we can put some information that explains what happened, but right, we don't want to hide, we don't want to lie, we want to be very honest, but we also want to save space on the resume. So if you can make the resume save space by putting it all into one, when it is, and just include the fact that, there was a small separation inside there, I think that's perfectly fine. It's very honest and transparent, and that's really what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling some of this stuff in. Okay. So you can see this employee is a production tech. They worked at Ladybug Inc. in Blytheville, Arkansas. They were working from June 2019 to present. And see, I put the asterisk. Asterisk here is going to indicate that something is kind of awry, right? It's just indicating something out of the ordinary. So I'm specifically calling out that thing I talked about, talking about the small separation. So I'm going to say temporary absence due to COVID-19 to support children. So, yeah, right, clear. If they have questions, they can ask more, but they probably won't because that happened to like a ton of people. So you're good. So worked. Let's see. Look at what they've done. They said work production line for assembly engines and ensuring top quality for customers. It's very canned, right? That is fresh out of a can. It is the most basic thing that you could say, which is literally everyone does that. So to a degree, a lot of the jobs as a production tech, the kind of the stations you work, they have the same sorts of qualities to them, right? We open our work instructions, we read at what parts we need, we gather our parts, we begin assembling, right? It all flows the same way. But there's so much variability, and we know that because we are there. We see it. So I want to give this employee credit. They've done so much, and they are so knowledgeable of so many different areas. So how can this employee convey that to a hiring manager? And so what I want to help you understand is how you can convey that information. Like this is how I want to see it. So this isn't helpful to me. What is helpful to me, let's start with bullets. Okay? So one of the things I struggle with is I see employees that aren't good at using computers, or they struggle to read their work instructions, right? So the very first thing that you could tell me that would make me very excited about having you on my team if you were a fresh employee is finding out that you found out that you're proficient in Plex. That is kind of our, let's call that our homegrown software. If you told me already that you were proficient in Plex, that would be very helpful. Now, obviously, you want to be honest about that. Are you proficient in Plex? If so, put it on your resume. If not, then don't. We have what? We have multiple lines. We got some test lines. We have different size engine lines. So maybe you're very knowledgeable of the smallest engine we build in that line, or maybe you are very knowledgeable of the moderate sized engine line that we build, or maybe you're very knowledgeable of the largest engine size that we build. Maybe you're even knowledgeable of the painting process or the testing process or any of those things. So that's the kind of content we want to put on here. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to phrase this a little different than you might have known it, but you can read between the lines. So this employee worked on we'll call them the 3 engine lines. We'll call them the small, the medium, and the large. Okay? So worked on medium engine line. And then this employee worked in multiple teams, 1 and 2. On teams 1 and 2. Okay? Perfect. And I might even bold it, right? Because I want them to know I know that line. Especially if I know multiple lines and I bold all of them, right? I'm really going to draw their attention to it. Okay, next. This employee also worked on another line. Small engine line. And they worked in multiple teams as well. Teams 4 and 6. They also told me that aside from working in teams 4 and 6, they also learned every single sub-operation in the area. Right? That's big. That's big. Right? So we're starting pretty general first. Here are the lines I know how to work. Then the other thing I was thinking about was what specific operations do we build? So if we have an engine takes an exhaust or something, exhaust manifold. So if I can build a small exhaust manifold, I can likely build or figure out how to build a medium exhaust manifold or a large exhaust manifold. So as a hiring manager, I would just like to know the general types of engine components that you've already assembled on one line or another. That content would tell me where I could put you, because if you've done it here, you can figure it out over here, right? I probably don't need to train you that much. I obviously need to train you a little bit, but I mean, you know how it works. First of all, you know the homegrown software, and you know how to build that thing, so you can figure it out on this other line. So what I asked this employee to do was tell me all the general engine components that they know how to build, that they feel confident that they can build. So that is here, right? And so then, wow, that's a lot of stuff. So you're telling me that this employee not only knows multiple lines and multiple teams on those lines, and here's the specific information of the things they know how to build. That's big. That's really big. And this is the kind of content I want to be able to see. So I would also bold this so that your hiring manager sees that. That's very important to see, because we want to draw their attention to the things that we think are important here. The next thing I want to talk about is I see some employees that are very willing to flex around the building, flex around for me, move up onto different teams that I support. And that willingness to help me and to flex around the room, it makes a really big difference in my day and my ability to run the line. And so when you are willing to help me do that with a very positive attitude, and that kind of mentality is admirable. And if it's true that you have that type of mentality and you are willing to help and flex because you see the bigger picture of supporting the entire line as a whole rather than wanting to do just one station, then let's give yourself credit for that. And if you went into an interview and they were curious, does this employee, let's put it on there first. Let's put it on there. So here's how I decided to phrase it based on this employee who is very willing to help me and flex as needed up to different teams. She has great attitude about it, and that really makes a big deal for me. So let's say we worked with section manager to flex and support various teams on the line to support business needs. It's a very managerial phrased, right, bullet point, but if that employee truly does that, if you do that, and you put that on your resume, come tell me, let me know, right? But make sure that I agree with you. But if I was asked for this specific employee, if I was asked, do they really do this? I would say, hell yeah, they definitely do that. They're an ace, and that's the kind of person people want to hire. So I think it is in everyone's best interest to think of every day at work as an interview. Every day at work, you're showing how much you want to support the team, how helpful you want to be, and that's the kind of things that make it easy for you to learn more aspects of the job and to flex into the job ideally that you want. That's how you get to where you want to be, is by excelling in whatever task you're doing at the moment. And so this employee really does go above and beyond for me. Okay, so aside from that, they also help train their new operators. So we want to give that person credit for that, right? So let's take a moment to look at the difference here. They went from one sentence that came straight from a can to now me as a hiring manager knowing, wow, look at all the things this person knows how to do. They would be a great addition to my team. Even if they can't do the specific thing I want them to do, they can figure it out. They can work towards it. So this already is showing me it's showing me a ton of versatility in this employee. So let's go down to the next job. So this one is for a different company. It's not going to be for Ladybug Inc. It's going to be for a different company, McCormick Spices. So this is an internal resume, right? So I want to get a new job within Ladybug. So I already work for Ladybug, and I want to get a different job within Ladybug. So it makes sense for me to give more specific bullets that a hiring manager who already works for the company would know. They would already know these lines. They would already know these engine components, right? They get this. They can read it. Now, whenever I go outside into a different company, I need to be a little bit more general, right? I need to use general phrases. I'm going to go ahead and toss the whole thing in there so we can get started talking about it. Give me a second. There it is. I got the whole thing in there. So I had to talk to this employee about this because I needed to get them to pull the information out. I need to pull the information out of them about what they did in this job. And I know as we were talking, they made it sound like they were a production tech. So that's what I put down, production tech. And then as we talked more, they expressed all this responsibility they had. And I said, wait. Were you a production tech or were you a team lead? And they said, no, I was who knows what it was. It was a team support or something. That's what that company, that's what McCormick called it. Maybe, I don't know, remember exactly, but it was a team support or something. And I said, okay, well, what kind of things went into that job? And they explained to me, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a team lead. Like, I get that McCormick calls it a team support, but by definition, you're describing a team lead. So even if that isn't exactly what it's called, that is what Ladybug calls it. So let's call it what Ladybug calls it, because it's the same job. So that when the hiring manager reads it, they see, okay, very clear. I see you are a team lead, right? They get exactly what you did at that job. Okay, so then this came from conversation. I had to talk to them. I had to understand what they did. And then we kind of basically put it in there. But what this employee said they did was, aside from actually, building, assembling, loading bottles or whatever, they also sat in a critical position where they were able to monitor the team's performance. So they're looking downstream of the assembly line, and if they saw something that was incorrect, or the team's not performing or something, they would address that. And if they saw any safety issues, this employee had the ability to stop the line, and then they would also go down, address that issue, and get the line restarted, right? So not only did this employee act as a team lead, but they also understood the importance of maintaining production and getting the line back up and running. Right? That's valuable. Me as a hiring manager, I want to see people that hustle. I want to see people that we need to keep the line moving. We need to build these engines, build this product. So showing that sort of understanding of getting the line back up and running is very important to me. Did I put I put too much in here. What is that? There you go. Continued production of product. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Put that in there. Okay, got it. So sometimes, yes, communication, that's going to be good. Leadership, good. References, good. I think the only thing of these I would say is references, right? You could put references if you want. Especially, let's see, if you put something like this on here, and I was that section manager, and you talked to me first, yeah, you'd want to put me here. But you don't need that other stuff. Because of you may want to put this on here. You may want to put authorized to work in the U.S. So if we look at their resume now, look at these skills. Right, they're all good, but they don't really apply to the job. So, we don't need to put them on there. Basically, they don't apply to the job. We all know they don't apply to the job, so we're not going to put them on there. I don't think this is necessary either. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. So we've built our resume. I'm actually going to drop this off too, because you figure that out on your own. Okay, so we have our resume. Good. It has tons of content, right? And then we have this major beef in the center, right? Big quality content right there. So now what I'm going to do is how am I going to deliver this resume? So this is just kind of the technical portion of the resume. So I'm going to file, save as. I'm going to save it on my PC. I'm going to save it on my desktop. I'm going to call it my name, and I'm going to call it resume. My name is A.O. Tony. Okay, A.O. Tony. Save it on my desktop. Bam. Right. Okay, there it is. There it is. So this is my copy. This is the copy I edit. This is not the copy I give out because it's in Word. So if I have Word 2020 or something, and the hiring manager has Word 2012, then when I send it to them, it's going to be destroyed. The formatting is going to be crazy bad. So you never send them your Word copy. We make 2 copies. I'm going to save this copy as the copy I edit. Hell, if we want to, we can even put the date. That's really actually very helpful. So we can say 3/28. I can't use those. 3/28/21. Right? So now I know the last time I updated my resume. Okay, whatever. Okay, I know the last time I updated my resume. Great. So the next thing I want to do is file, save as again. And then I still want to go desktop. I still want the same name, but I want to save it as a PDF. Okay, so we're going to save it as a PDF. Okay. Okay, so there's my 2 copies of my resume. So let's open the PDF. Okay. So look, if I put my cursor here, I can't type. Can't edit. This is not an editable version of the resume. It is a version of the resume that is more like a photograph, so that it can still be read, you can still copy and paste, but you can't edit, and it doesn't mess up the formatting no matter who has it. No matter where you open it, it's always going to look exactly the same, which is very important. You don't want your resume being sent and having the formatting all jacked up because you sent it in Word. It sends a really bad impression that, oh God, it's just a mess. I'm not even going to read this. Like, no one wants to read that. So now this is the copy I send out, and this is the copy I edit. Easy peasy. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to email them to myself, and I'm going to name the email something like Ayo Tony resume, blah, 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 right? Something so that I can, search in my email search bar and refine my resume. I'm probably also going to leave these on my desktop at all times. I always personally leave my resume on my desktop as well as many other places because I'm looking at it all the time. Okay, that is really what I got for you in terms of fixing your resume. So if you would like to learn more or you'd like to work one-on-one, please do your best to do the legwork. Build that format of the resume, fill in the content as best you can, especially like, name, address, phone number, stuff like that. Then come see me. We can set some time and get together and work on your resume individually. But I really hope this helped, and yeah, good luck.